I'm Hayden, an English teacher of Langmaster Learning System. In this video, you're going to learn how to improve your English pronunciation. And at the end of this video, I'll give you a link to our webpage that contains free pronunciation exercises. First of all, why is it so hard for you to improve your English pronunciation? Well, one of the reasons is that you can't make some sounds in English because those sounds are not present in your native languages. So, when you speak English, you often replace those difficult sounds with some other sounds that you can make. That's why you mispronounce words all the time. So, the first step to improve your pronunciation is to learn to pronounce all of the main sounds in English correctly. So how do you do that? Well, one way to do that is to find some pronunciation exercises for each sound in English and just practice. After you've practiced making all the sounds, you will have the perfect pronunciation. Now, I really wish it were that simple, but it's not. There is a problem. And the problem is, the sounds in English are very similar to each other. Now, why is that a problem? Well, unlike babies, adults don't have the ability to easily distinguish between all the different sounds in a foreign language. So, when you hear two different sounds in English, if those sounds are similar, your brain might perceive those sounds as the same. That's why learning to make each sound separately may not work. In the past, my students couldn't hear the difference between these sounds. So to them, the words cheap and sheep sounded the same. So if they did an exercise teaching how to pronounce these words, they would mispronounce all of them. And they would believe that they were pronouncing those words correctly, even though that wasn't true. And that's the biggest challenge when it comes to improving your pronunciation. If you can't hear the difference between two sounds, how can you learn to produce each sound correctly? So what should you do? Fortunately, there's a method for overcoming this problem. This method is based on a number of research studies. These studies suggest that if you have trouble differentiating between two sounds or two words, the best way to train your brain to recognize the difference is to listen to the words at the same time. I mean, not exactly at the same time, but you listen to one word immediately after the other. If you hear those words at the same time, you are more likely to notice the difference. And after you've noticed the difference, you can then practice pronouncing those words. There are many free pronunciation exercises that apply this idea. These exercises contrast one sound with another. And here is what such an exercise might look like. This exercise contrasts the A sound with the E sound. This kind of exercise has three key benefits. Firstly, it makes you aware that the words in each pair are pronounced differently. Secondly, in an exercise like this, the presenter tends to exaggerate when pronouncing words, making it even easier to hear the differences. And lastly, since similar words are presented together for comparison, it reduces the tendency for non-native speakers to pronounce two different words the same way. Now, you might be wondering, does this really work? And the answer is yes. My students use this method to improve their pronunciation. Before they began applying this method, they mispronounced a lot of words. And here are some examples. Look at these word pairs. The words in each pair are pronounced differently, but they used to pronounce them the same way. So sometimes they would say something confusing. But thanks to this method, they were able to fix most of the mistakes, and now their pronunciation is much better. Alright, now it's time for you to improve your pronunciation. I've created a resource page that includes exercises for all the confusing sounds in English. Just click here to go to that page. If you really want to change your English speaking and listening skills, make a decision and join our NHANH learning system. We'll help you speak English easily, fluently, and automatically. I'm Hayden from NHANH Learning System. Goodbye and see you next time.